Hey everyone, and welcome to Learning Works for Kids Games and Apps Compilations. This is a series where we will showcase some of our favorite games covered on the channel and how playing them can help you get better at real-world skills. If you want to know more about how to take your gameplay to the next level, visit us at learningworksforkids.com and learn more about how video games can be a part of a balanced play diet. Without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy the compilation.
Today we are going to be talking about the action strategy RPG Valorant Chronicles 4. This game is set in an alternate reality during World War II and heavily features tactical combat and strategic planning in order to move through its many battlefields. It is 1935 EC and the continent of Europa is split between two factions, the Empire and the Federation. You control a squad of young heroes who need to work together to win battles and turn the tide of the war. Players will need to use their flexibility skills in this game because fighting is a mixture of real-time and turn-based combat. Being able to switch between these two types of battle styles is essential for progressing in the game. Planning is also an essential skill because you are controlling multiple battles at once and need to think several steps in advance in order to have a successful strategy. The player needs to be able to see the events occurring on the battlefield and anticipate what their next few moves are going to be and what the outcome of those moves will look like. And finally, this game allows players to tap into their self-awareness skills. Because Valorant Chronicles 4 is essentially a war story, there are common themes of love, loss, and the bond between soldiers on the battlefield. All of the characters in your squad are named and have their own rich backstories, some of which can only be accessed by spending enough time with them. The player can quickly become attached to all of the members of their squad and empathize with them as they experience the harsh realities of war. Today, we are talking about a remake of a PC classic, The Oregon Trail. This game is an adventure simulation of the historical trip many people took as they headed west to make a better life for themselves. But nothing about this trip is easy. You and your party need to constantly watch out for injuries, starvation, robbers, and sickness. You can get sick from not having clean clothes or eating spoiled food. The oxen can get injured and the cart can break down. Your own party members can mess up because of their personality traits. And this is all before winter sets in. Players will need to use their organization and planning skills if they want to make it all the way through the game. Money and supplies are constantly being used as quickly as they are found, and if you do not have a good stock of wagon parts, medicine, meat, or any number of other things, the situation can get pretty bad pretty quickly. If you cannot plan out how to spend your money correctly or use too much of your supplies too early, your party members can get sick, injured, and even die if the situation is serious enough. Checkpoints along the way can help you stop and restock, but it is still necessary to make sure that you get as much as you can for your money. The game features several different difficulty levels, so players who need a little help with planning and organizing, or are just sick of seeing their party eat moldy flour, there is an easy mode called Sightseeing. New features have been recently added that include side quests that the player can take on in addition to the main storyline.
Have you ever wondered what goes into making a video game? Have you ever wanted to make a video game of your own? Well, today we're talking about the new Nintendo Switch game called Game Builder Garage. This game walks you through the basics of programming video games in a fun and interactive way by using little characters called nodons. The player is guided through the tutorial by Bob and Alice, two small sprites who teach you the basics of building game levels, giving characters commands, and setting up obstacles, fail states, and retry functions. After completing each tutorial, you hit a checkpoint where Alice will give you a challenge to complete that brings all of the skills you've learned together so far. Sound complicated? Using your executive functioning skills can make this process much easier and add to the fun you'll have making a game. Planning is important when using Game Builder Garage because everything you do when making a video game needs to have a purpose. The game designer has to know what actions a character can take, what obstacles do within the game, and how to create something even as basic as walls and floors. All of this requires planning out how you want your levels to look and what you want to accomplish with your game. Working memory is also important because there are a lot of functions within Game Builder Garage, like which nodons connect to each other and how that affects the game being developed. The game designer needs to keep this information in their head while designing the game, or they may find themselves going back to Alice's tutorials over and over again. And finally, self-awareness and self-control are important when making a video game. Not all games are made in one sitting, and some might be much more challenging than others. The game designer needs to know when they are getting frustrated and when a break is necessary. They also need to know when to ask for help if they are stuck, so going to Alice's menu and reviewing some of the materials can be a way to do this.
Today, we are going to be talking about a new music trivia game on Apple Arcade called Song Pop Party. This game features a ton of different categories users can choose from, ranging from pop, rap, rock, R&B, to themes like independence and love. The players can decide whether they want to play alone, with friends, or with random people from around the world. Once the game starts, you will hear a song begin to play. You will then need to guess either the song's title or its artist from a list of 4 options. Your score for the round is determined by how many answers you get correct and how quickly you were able to answer. Leveling up in a category can earn you keys, which can be used to unlock other levels or new avatars you can use when you play. Because there are so many different categories of music, players can really practice their flexibility and try categories of music they might not normally listen to. Focusing and time management are also important because you have to try and answer as quickly as possible and block out the distractions of the other 3 choices. Working memory is also important because you need to select the song or artist quickly while listening to a short clip from the song. Grab your Denari, your flashlight, and your guide to Greek and Roman mythology, because today we are talking about the murder mystery exploration game, The Forgotten City. This game, based on a mod of the game Skyrim, is a puzzle game where you, the player, are flung back in time to an ancient Greco-Roman society. This city is under the power of a law called the Golden Rule. If anyone commits a sin, everyone dies. You have been brought back in time to find out who is going to commit the sin in order to prevent it from happening. Easier said than done. For example, what might be considered a sin to one person is a perfectly legitimate act to another. The player must navigate through the city, talking to its citizens and finding a way to uncover who will sin and stop it before everyone pays the price. If a sin is committed, golden statues around the city spring to life, shoot the citizens with arrows, and turn them into golden statues as well. The player can escape through a portal within the Shrine of Persephone, which will bring them back to the beginning of the day again. This can be done as many times as necessary for the player to solve the mystery and make it back to their own time period. The Forgotten City is a great way for players to practice their working memory and planning skills. In order to succeed in the game, the player must use the portal to loop back to the beginning of the day and use the knowledge they gained from previous cycles to complete various quests. The player must remember the information that they learned and figure out how to apply it in a variety of situations. The player must also plan out how they are going to solve certain problems within the game, such as saving a woman from being poisoned or finding out who is harassing one of the citizens. There are multiple ways to approach and solve the mysteries of this game, so the players can try many different approaches before finding the one that works.
Today, we're going to be talking about Unravel. In this gorgeous puzzle platformer, the player controls Yarny, a little creature made entirely out of yarn. You move Yarny through the environment, manipulating objects using the yarn from your own body in order to clear the various levels. Players need to use their planning skills when playing Unravel because Yarny does not have an infinite amount of yarn to work with. If the player makes too many moves that are not necessary, the player will need to go back and try a different option. Having an idea on how to solve the puzzle rather than diving in and having to explore various options can save you a lot of time. But if you're the kind of person who likes to jump right in and get your yarn hands dirty, flexibility can help you try different routes and approaches to solving some of the environmental puzzles in the game. Unravel can also help the player with their self-awareness skills. Levels in the game are accessed with memories that stem from photos that Yarny finds. The memories are not always positive, so the player experiences some pretty tough feelings as they are moving through the game. Also, as Yarny moves to the later levels of the game, the tone changes and makes the player think more about how the world around Yarny is changing due to the technology that is present. So, what was your favorite game or app that was covered in today's video? Let us know in the comments below. And if you did enjoy this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button to see new reviews and playthroughs every week. Well, that's all the time we have for today, but be sure to join us for the next Game Spotlight at learningwins4kids.com.